Hey everyone, welcome back to another installment of Charlie, Joe, and Jack. Read from Charlie Joe Jackson's Guide to Not Reading. We're starting today at chapter 13. Since you're about to meet my family, I may as well tell you a little bit about them. The first thing I'll say is they're pretty awesome. My dad, James Jackson, Jimmy Jackson to his friends, although I once heard someone actually call him JJ. It's as bad as when some lame adult who doesn't know me calls me CJ. He's a lawyer, works a lot, likes to walk around the house in his boxers, has the eating habits of a 10-year-old, and makes really strange noises when he plays with the dogs. He loves ketchup but hates tomatoes. He's not tall or short or big or small. He's a pretty regular, normal-looking dad. I guess I kind of look like him. My mom, Claire Jackson, homemaker / substitute teacher, works a lot, orders me and my sister to stay in touch with her, but then never answers her cell phone, laughs at all of Dad's jokes even when they're not funny, does a killer Australian accent, rolls her eyes when Dad makes funny noises when he plays with the dogs, tells him to put clothes on, and eats the tomatoes off his plate. She's super nice, and all my friends say she's really pretty. When they say that, it kind of grosses me out and makes me feel proud at the same time. My sister, Megan Jackson, 2 years older than me, used to be a tomboy until she discovered boys, wears shorts shorter than my underwear, plays a mean clarinet, loves to read. So yeah, even though in most books this would probably be the part where the narrator complains about his family, talks about how miserable life is at home, and pleads for the reader's sympathy, it turns out I really like my family. They're pretty cool. I like every one of them pretty much all the time, even my sister. I know it's crazy, but it's true. In other words, no big family drama situation, at least not until I got home that night.
Chapter 14. The afternoon started innocently enough. After school, I went over to my friend Jake's house, where I found him standing in his yard, reading a book. It's hard enough to read a book, but reading standing up? Fortunately, the one thing that can get Jake's nose out of a book is an Xbox. It's just that good. And we headed inside to play. But his mom met us at the door, announced it was a beautiful day, and told us to turn right back around and go outside. So we stayed outside for 3 minutes, then went around to the other side of the house, snuck in through the side door, went downstairs to the basement, and played Xbox. In the middle of the game, I got this weird text from Timmy. "Read any good books lately?" I texted back, "Haha, what do you think?" and forgot all about it. After about 45 awesome Xbox minutes, Jake's dog gave us away by barking furiously at one of the Nazi zombies. His mom chased us outside again. So we went outside and hung out in his front yard for about an hour talking about Nazi zombies. Then Jake said, "How come you don't like Eliza?" Jake was incredibly smart, but he wasn't exactly Einstein with the girls. So he couldn't understand why anyone wouldn't like a girl who already liked him, especially a girl who looked like Eliza. "It's hard to explain," I answered. "I wish I did like her, though. It would make life so much easier." "I don't think life is supposed to be easy," said the kid who's never gotten less than an A in his entire life. Little did I know.
I knew something was wrong when I got home. When I walked in the door, and Moose and Coco didn't run up to greet me as if I was the only human being in the world that had ever existed. The thing about dogs is they pretty much reflect the mood in the house. If someone's sad, they're sad. If someone's happy, they're happy. And if someone's mad, which happened to be the case in this particular instance, they hide. I made my way to the kitchen for my usual pre-dinner bowl of cereal. I like my stomach to be prepped with a solid snack before a sit-down meal. I stopped in my tracks when I saw my mom sitting at the table with Timmy's mom. Now, under normal circumstances, I love Mrs. McGivney. She is like the best snack cabinet in the entire town. Chips, chocolate-covered pretzels, cheese-covered popcorn, cookies galore, literally every kind of junk food that I would want to eat and that my mom will never buy. Plus, Mrs. McGivney is always happy to drive Timmy and me anywhere. But these were not normal circumstances. In fact, they were highly abnormal, almost paranormal. I gave a quick wave as I tried to sneak by them on my way to the cereal container. "Hi, Miss McGivney." She smiled semi-brightly. "Hello, Charlie Joe, dear." My mom interrupted the pleasantries. "Charlie Joe, the Captain Crunch Fruit Loops combo platter will have to wait. Please come over here and sit down." So I sat. Coco went into the other room. She hated confrontation. Moose stuck around, looking at me like, I really feel bad for you, but at the same time, I'm so glad I'm not you right now. My mom folded her hands in that universal mom sign for I'm talking and you're listening. Rose has come here today with some very disturbing news.
Do you want me to go on? Or should I end the chapter here? Are you desperate to know what happens? Or are you more desperate to finish the chapter, put the book away, and go watch TV? I'd say we should take a vote, but since that's kind of impossible, I'll just put myself in your shoes. What would I want? How would I vote? That settles it. End of chapter. Charlie Joe's tip number 9. Reading can make you fat. Surely you've heard all about the studies that show how kids today just sit around eating candy and cheeseburgers, and how obesity among young people is a huge national problem. I think one of the cable news channels called it an American epidemic of fatness, which sounds almost as scary as global warming. Well, do you know what a major contributor to all that fat is? Reading. I'll have you know that reading burns absolutely 0 calories whatsoever. So the next time you consider picking up a book, you might want to remember what an unhealthy choice you're making. It's for your own good.
Chapter 15. As my mother stared at me across the kitchen table, it suddenly occurred to me what happened. When something interesting happens at school, kids like to talk about it. Who knew? It turns out that after Eliza and I had our little chat, Eliza immediately told her friend Talia about it. And Talia told this kid Adam about it. Then Adam told Becky. Becky told David. David told Emily. Emily told Eric, and Eric told Kathy, who happens to be Timmy's sister. And Kathy told her mother, who happens to be Timmy's mother. And Timmy's mother told my mother, and my mother told me, but good. At first it sounds perfectly harmless. So let me get this straight, she said. Even though we were both pretty sure we had it straight. You asked Eliza Collins to talk to her father about making sure Timmy made the lacrosse team? Yup, I said. What's the big deal? I was just trying to be a good friend. My mom sighed heavily, which usually meant the beginning of the end. A good friend who wants someone to keep reading his books for him, apparently. Uh-oh. Timmy told me all about your little arrangement, dear, Miss McGinley said, almost apologetically. I started to sweat. What did he tell you, I asked, needlessly. Mom took this one. In exchange for you buying Timmy food at lunch, he tells you what's in the book that you've been assigned to read, so you don't have to read it. Then she waited for me to confirm or deny. What could I do? Oh, I confirmed, but she wasn't done. Oh, and according to Timmy, this has been going on for several years, and in all that time, you pretty much haven't read even one of the books that you were supposed to read. Wow, Timmy had really gone into all of the gory details. He must have been really upset that I talked to Eliza. Or, more accurately, he must have been really upset that the whole school found out that I talked to Eliza. Dang it, I thought to myself. Katie was right, as usual. It's not that simple, I said. I read parts of the books. I read all of the first chapters and some of the second chapters, and most of the endings and stuff. I was really completely able to get to the point of these books for sure. Timmy just helped me fill in some of the details, that's all. Yeah, that wasn't gonna fly. My mom looked at me with some real disappointment, which made me feel terrible. We'll talk more about this when Dad gets home. Great, something else to look forward to. Mrs. McGibney took a sip of her cider, which reminded me that I had absolutely no saliva in my mouth and was dying of thirst. Her eyes were full of pity as she said the one thing she knew would make me feel at least a tiny bit better. I want you to know, Charlie Joe, that Timmy is going to be in just as much trouble as you are.
Charlie Joe's tip number 10. It's easy to convince readers that you do in fact read, even if you in fact don't. There are plenty of ways to come across as a book lover. Just follow these simple steps. 1. Have a bookshelf in your room. Stock it with books. Number 2. Wear glasses, even if you don't need them. Number 3. Use the word therefore a lot. Number 4. Put a Harry Potter poster up on your wall. Number 5, keep a library card handy at all times. Number 6, ask for a gift certificate to Amazon for your birthday. Don't worry, they sell DVDs. Number 7, get a shirt with a picture of Mark Twain on it. Number 8, hang out at Barnes & Noble. They have great hot chocolate. Number 9, make your local library's website the homepage on your computer. And number 10, perhaps most important, don't annoy or embarrass your friend who's reading all your books for you. Ever.
Chapter 16. Can a book be divided into quarters, kind of like a football game? I think this is the end of the first quarter. Let's go to commercial break. And that's part 1 of Charlie Joe Jackson's Guide to Not Reading.